Well, good morning. Not too long ago, we got done with our 2-hour radio show, which we want to remind you can catch on the air if you're in East Central Alabama on 95.1 The Mountain. And if you're not in East Central Alabama, you can listen to it via their app. Just search whatever app store is your favorite and look for 95.1 The Mountain. Or you can just stay right here, which we do appreciate. Tell your friends about it as well, because we appreciate that as well. We can use all the help we can get. I'm Steve West. Right. Yeah, I'm Steve West, and this is Matt Nicholson, producer John Myers in the background, making us capably look and sound good. And we mentioned it towards the end of the show, in that yesterday, Netflix dropped the latest season number 4 now, of Formula One's Drive to Survive.
Uh-huh.
I started it just afternoon, and I had one break of about 45 minutes, and basically ran through all 10 episodes in one day.
Sweet.
Episode 4 deals with Haas F1. And, yeah, Gunther Steiner is everything as advertised. If there's...
Yeah.
I'll say this. If there's one guy above, and several of the figures within Formula One, be they team principals or drivers, have embraced this because they realize what good it's doing. But if there's one guy who seems to have embraced the idea of the Formula One Drive to Survive formula deal better than anybody, it's got to be Gunther Steiner.
Gunther.
He's comfortable, he has a good time, and most importantly, truth be told, he's not afraid to tell you what he thinks. He's just there. I mean, he's on it. He's so good at it.
He is.
It was a fantastic episode. Is what it was. I may go back and rewatch that episode specifically because I get the feeling I missed something.
Yeah, I haven't started it yet. But I'm going to.
Okay.
I've been intermingling and intertwining in the middle of, outside of me running my C-Class iRacing races. I've been watching the series dealing with Bubba Wallace.
Oh yeah.
Which
is actually also quite well done.
It's very well done. A lot of people, I'm just going to call it like I see it. People giving backlash of unnecessary things being portrayed in it.
Yep.
What give you not?
Sure.
It's not badly done. It gives a really, really, really good insight into really the birth of 2311.
Mm-hmm.
And all the way up 21 Talladega.
Yeah.
Is when it stopped.
Yep.
But I plan on starting Drive to Survive probably tonight.
Okay.
But I've got to watch it all the way through because I got to see how they portray my guy Christian Horner.
You'll love the last 2 episodes then.
Christian Horner, if I could be a team principal, he's my spirit animal. Sorry.
You'll love the last 2 episodes. They did a very good job, and you know, we're not giving away any spoilers. The season finale, where Max Verstappen ends up winning the title, highly controversial, and it gave a little bit more explanation as to the decisions that were made that allowed Max Verstappen to get up on Lewis Hamilton's bumper. And I didn't realize it beforehand, in that we explained it somewhat on the show right after it happened. There were 5 cars in between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden they decided, hey, you know what? We'll let those cars go by. What the announcement, and this was a general rule, and this happens in NASCAR, it happens in Indycar as well. You take the lapped cars, you allow them to unlap themselves, and you allow the leaders to be able to battle it out amongst themselves, right?
Right.
Well, shouldn't that be done either not at all or across the board? And the reason I mention that is because there is a decision in there that Michael Massey gives. He was, keyword, was the race director for Formula One. Massey decided that the 5 cars between Hamilton and Verstappen could unlap themselves, but no other cars could. Now we know why Michael Massey's out of a job. That was a horrible decision. You either allow all the lap cars to unlap themselves, or you allow none of them to.
Yeah, that's a big no-no.
It is.
For sure.
Fair warning as well, if you are unfamiliar with Formula One Drive to Survive. It's kind of like thinking, oh, Deadpool's a superhero movie. I'm going to take my 5-year-old to go see it. Don't. This is for mature audiences. There is a lot of language in Formula One Drive to Survive.
Yes. Just from season 3, if you put a movie rating on it, it's definitely rated R.
Oh, yeah. And it's all because of the language. Now, the funny thing is I'm in the middle of episode 6, I want to say, when my wife got home from work. And I put it on pause. And, we said our hellos and we, caught up on each other's day and everything. And then I went back and I started watching it again. And my wife walks into the room and she sees this. Well, of course, I put it on pause. And she's looking at the picture and she goes, "That's a beautiful picture." And it was. Their filming of it, the way that they do it, is fantastic. The production company does a great job of capturing Formula One in ways, quite frankly, that Sky Sports / ESPN can't. The production value is fantastic. And she was right. And she said, "So what are you watching?" And I told her. And she said, "Oh, okay. Well, go ahead." And I started it. And within 5 words, somebody laid out a word. And she went, "Okay, I'm out." So, fair warning, not for young ears, okay? But otherwise, very, very good. And again, he mentioned it, the Bubba Wallace one. It's very good. If I have one complaint, truth be told, it's a couple of the people that they chose to be commentators on it. Well, one in particular. Jamel Hill. Jamel Hill...
No. Yeah, I agree.
There's a reason why Jamel Hill got fired from ESPN. From doing the 5 and 6 o'clock in the afternoon Sports Center. And it'll come across in spades. She's got a massive chip on her shoulder from God only knows what. And it shows. She doesn't play it straight across the board. That's my biggest complaint, is she's on there. I'm just going to leave it at that. Trying to figure out where to go from there, are you?
This is... I'll say this. This is my entire biggest, total, complete gripe with everything that started with the Wallace situation and how it spiraled literally out of control. It got out of control.
Yeah.
Past out of control. This narrative, the entire narrative that's put on with it, what many, many, many people don't realize. They see Wallace at the track with his mother, rightfully so, his sisters, his half-sisters.
True.
There's a key word there.
Yeah.
A lot of people would probably change their narrative on a lot of this if it would be clearly stated just by one prominent sports outlet, news media outlet, social media outlet, whatnot.
And we'll start it. Why not?
I'll be glad to start it. Bubba Wallace is interracial.
Yes, he is. It's true. Most people don't realize that.
A lot don't realize that.
But the thing about it is take race out of it. Because it doesn't matter.
Take it off the picture.
Every single person, all 36 to 40 of them that start a Cup Series race every weekend, are covered head to toe from helmet all the way down to racing shoes. You can't tell what color their skin is. You can't tell what gender they are. And you know what? It don't matter.
The only thing you see, you pull down the shaded visor, well, you can't see nothing. All you see from top to bottom is either Bell, Stylo, Arai, or Simpson.
There you go.
or even Impact helmet.
Yep.
You see either Simpson, Impact, Sparco, Alpine Stars, OMP, Adidas, or Puma. That's your fire suit.
Yep.
You either see Adidas, Puma, Impact, Sparco, Alpine Stars for your shoes. That's all I see.
They're all racers.
Everybody's a racer.
You know, some have better equipment than others. That's obvious. Some drivers, quite frankly, are better than other drivers. That much is obvious, too.
Very.
If you're complaining about Bubba Wallace because of the fact that you think like he's gotten something that he doesn't deserve, I got news for you. You need to go back and you need to look at the very beginnings of this. He's a very accomplished race car driver who has earned every step that he has taken within the upper levels of this sport.
He's taking it. He's taking it step by step.
Now,
like
if you don't like him for a legitimate reason, or if you don't like him because you think that he's a crybaby, okay. But if you don't like him because of the color of his skin, kind of an idiot. Just going to put it plainly. You're kind of an idiot.
And I've said it on this show at our previous home before. The narrative that was brought on by what happened in the time that it happened,
Yeah.
when the garage area was essentially locked down tighter than Fort Knox.
Sure.
Let's say that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure Russell Branham and Brian Crichton will vouch for me on that.
Yeah.
And then a gentleman that I'm sure we need to probably get back on at some point in the future, that was a weekly guest with us, that supplied the video from the opening weekend in 2019 of Big Bill's.
Yeah.
In that very garage stall.
Yep.
And you can clearly see that it's tied for a handle on a pull rope.
It is. But if you are somewhat uninitiated in the ways, it's got quite the similarity to a noose.
The similarities, yes.
It's eerie, the similarity. And if, like, again, hopefully not a whole lot of people are overly familiar with what a noose looks like. Yeah, I could see how it would freak out. And it's just pure happenstance that it happened to be Bubba Wallace's stall that it ended up being when all of this blew up, number one. And number two, Bubba wasn't the one that saw it. It was one of his crew members. Bubba wasn't there. He didn't have a clue.
That's the problem with media. They took it and they ran with it. Oh, Bubba saw this. Bubba. No,
No,
Bubba
he
didn't
didn't.
see it.
And I'd be almost willing to bet my paycheck that each stall had one of those hanging under.
They had a pull cord. I would bet
Yeah,
my
they all had
yearly.
pull cords.
I would bet my yearly salary from last year on a 5-to-1 odds and make $500,000. And I know I'm right. Every single one of them had one of those, and I'm going to label it a pulling apparatus to open the door.
Yes,
Yeah,
they all did.
That's what I'm saying.
And as,
Every one of them had it.
as to how it got tied up, that was up to each individual team that actually did it.
And-
in the case of when this was done, it happened to be the number 12 car of Ryan Blaney that happened to be in the pit stall when it was tied up like that. Because that was the first car to take that pit stall.
It was in 2019 when it opened up. It was 21 of Paul Menard.
21, I'm sorry.
Paul Menard.
My dyslexia kicked in. I apologize.
Menard's scheme, Menard's Blaney. It's easy to do because the cars are identical. But where it was prominently shown the most of all places, CNN.
Yeah.
All right. He didn't see it. But this is a prime example of the media taking something and running with it and spinning it to unnecessary levels.
Yes. And here's one other aspect of it that just bugs the daylights out of me, because this is prevalent in news and it's prevalent in Hollywood too, in just TV shows and movies. If this had happened any other state other than Alabama, this wouldn't have been that big of a deal.
No, it wouldn't have. And
But because it was in Alabama, you remember what happened at Selma, or you remember the 16th Street Baptist Church and all the other stuff that happened when it came to, racial segregation, equality, and all this. We know Alabama's role in that. If this had happened in any other state other than Alabama, this wouldn't have been as big a deal. But because it happened in Talladega, in Alabama, it made it 10 times worse on the national average, because now we get to slam Alabama because, you know what? All of those guys down there, they're just a bunch of white redneck racists. Come down here. come down here. I challenge you, come down here and meet some of the people that go to Talladega, and you'll find out. False narrative.
Meet some of the people that work there.
There you go. Even better.
1, 2. Okay?
So, yeah, in other words, race about Bubba Wallace, we recommend it. We recommend Formula One Drive to Survive. There you go. I'm looking forward to seeing what some more of these documentaries might come up with, because other than really race, the Bubba Wallace story, what we've seen on social media when it comes to NASCAR is they're trying to recreate Ricky Bobby, the Talladega Nights movie, which, funny and all that, I get it, but you know what? Do me a favor. Treat it right. That's why IndyCar's taking their time. They want to do something along the lines of Formula One Drive to Survive, but they're going to take their sweet time to do it because they want to make sure it's done right. And what I mean by that is it's going to treat the series with respect. NASCAR, one of their problems is they're just approving things willy-nilly. Stop approving things just because somebody came up to you and said, hey, we'd like to do a show about NASCAR. No. Treat yourself with respect. Would you? And have somebody come up and do something a la Formula One Drive to Survive, or have more of the things like what we saw in Bubba Wallace. That is going to raise NASCAR's profile.
I'll say this at 10:29 a.m. on March the 12th, 2022. If Talladega Nights 2 is recreated, I know of 2 individuals that better be in the movie. 1, 2.
I'll give you 3. You better bring back Matt Coulter.
That's 3.
You better bring back Matt Coulter. I'll be real honest with you. I don't want to revisit it. I think we're done. And kind of hope Will Ferrell's done with it too. Just to be real honest. It was funny once, and it was cool to say that I was a part of it. I was a much smaller part of it than Matt Coulter was. But it was fun to be a part of it. I don't know whether we need to go down that road again. Just to be real honest.
I don't either. Funny story about that. Funny story about Coulter, and it's really good. I was through my day job visiting with a gentleman that came to my office, would meet with him in my office. He saw one of the pictures I had hanging on my wall. Just showed me at Talladega. Oh, you work down there? Yeah, I go help them out on race weekends, and then as needed, we'll travel to different tracks as needed. Whenever they call, I'm ready to go. Was you in that movie? What do you do down there? That's how I was asked that. Well, I help everybody out, and just wherever's needed. I said mainly I'm in the scoring tower, helping with anything dealing with public address work, anything like that. Whether it be filling in on a mic, helping with producing stuff, whatever. I said I'm just an all hands on deck guy in that booth. You done that before? Yeah, I have. How hard is it to do that? I said, it's not easy. I said, the best advice I ever got, I said, some of the best advice I ever got, I said, from the gentleman I work radio with that got me up there with him, from himself and Matt Coulter, the guy that's the trackside PA announcer. I said, they both said, picture you talking to a black wall. That way you don't get nervous.
Yep.
And it worked. Who was that Matt Coulter guy? I said, you know the movie Talladega Nights? He said, oh yeah. I said, the guy that does Victory Lane interviews at the end? Yep. I said, that's him. I said, he's the real life PA trackside announcer. Man, that's cool. You know him? I said, do you want me to pick up the phone and call him? I can right now. No, don't do that. It's just how you can intermingle with people and know you have a tie-in down there.
Yeah.
And they just blow their mind that you know somebody that's been in a movie.
Quick backstory, Matt Coulter tells this much better than I ever could. My contribution for 3 days of being on the set ended up being for about a second and a half. Towards the end of the movie, as everyone's leaving the track, if you look way back in the background, you might see a pickup truck with 2 people in the bed. One's waving an American flag, the other's waving a checkered flag. I'm the guy waving the American flag. Coulter, obviously, he did the Victory Lane interview.
Mm-hmm.
And Coulter, like I said, tells the story much better than I do, but the basic overview was that he was suggested to the producers and the director, hey, this is the guy that actually does it.
Yeah.
And the guy, okay, well, we'll talk to him. Well, Matt's been on camera before. It's not like he was uncomfortable doing that. He'd been on television before he got into radio and then started doing PA stuff. And the guy started telling him, here's what you need to say. And Matt looked at it and said, I wouldn't say that. I said, what do you mean? I said, this isn't how we do Victory Lane.
The story about him ad-libbing, yeah.
Yeah, and so the guy said, okay, well, do it the way that you do it. Did it in one take, done. Guy was so happy with how Matt had done it, it was over. So, yeah.
Here at the famed Talladega Victory Lane. I'm like, that's Coulter, I forgot!
So, but anyway, so that's our basic. I'm going to cross-reference an old show of mine called the Entertainment Roundtable along with this, in kind of looking at it. Some other things that are going on, we talked about during the show, how Haas F1, very uneven so far.
Up and down for sure.
Yeah. They've had some technical problems here as well. And this is what preseason's for. You're going in there and you're trying to find all the little bugs out of your new cars. But when the car is out there, it seems to have some speed. So the desire for Haas F1 to climb out of that cellar and maybe try to move back up towards the mid-pack, remember, they had gotten as high as finishing 5th and were battling for 4th in Constructors' Cup standings before everything kind of started to go south on them. They're trying to climb back up to that. It seems like they're starting to at least get themselves up off the floor and at least onto their knees, if not standing up.
I would say they're off their knees, they're squatting.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
We'll see how this goes. Mick Schumacher is a very talented young kid. You get Kevin Magnussen back, 29-year-old, veteran of number of years in Formula One. Knows how things go at Haas F1, has a great relationship with everybody there, from the team principal all the way down to the guy who brings them water, for crying out loud. So I think this is a good move for them. Should be a nice step up for them as they get ready to go back. And that'll bring us to this weekend where, yeah, we got the NHRA going, but that's down in Florida. The West Coast trip is about to end out in Phoenix. Cup Series tomorrow. I know it's the next-gen cars. Kind of, toss a coin up in the air, but if somebody came to you and said, who am I looking for? Who are you looking for and looking at?
Next question. Good question.
Well, I'll say this. The
know.
guy who has practically owned the place over about the last 5, 6, 7 years, I'm interested to see how he reacts to the new car. And I'm talking about Kevin Harvick.
Right.
Kevin Harvick was one of those guys who you could pretty much pencil in as top 5, if not the winner, at Phoenix forever, ever since he joined Stewart Haas at the very least. And the question becomes, how does this guy who has run so well at Phoenix adjust to this new Gen 7 car? He hasn't done poorly to begin the year, he just hasn't shown up like we would expect Kevin Harvick to show up.
He's been, kind of ironically, he's been like Haas, up and down.
Yeah, very much so.
Up, down, up, down a little bit, way back up, just inconsistent. I'm going to be interested to see what he does as well.
Yeah.
Now, they may unload off the lift gate here in just a little bit and be in a blazing glory.
Could be.
Then again, he may be outside the left field foul pole. Who knows? Time will tell.
Yeah.
But, I mean, how can you go against Hendrick right now?
Jeez.
How can you?
It doesn't seem like they've missed much going from the old stock car to the new stock car.
Outside of, in which I still think the jury's still out on the super speedway related stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The intermediate stuff, Hendrick's got it figured out.
Yeah. The interesting thing will be, as well as they did in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
You're going to go to a similarly styled track next weekend at Atlanta, but remember, Atlanta now has higher banking, brand new pavement, higher speeds most definitely. That track is no longer more like Las Vegas. In fact, they're putting in the double yellow lines like we see only at Daytona and Talladega, which means you can't pass below the double yellow line. If you do, you get penalized. Atlanta's become SMI's super speedway. It's become SMI's Daytona and Talladega.
Yeah.
So it's going to be real interesting to see how the Hendrick boys do at Atlanta when they go to Atlanta next time. Because that's going to be a different set of rules and a different set of regulations for them. Team Penske seems to once again be the class of Ford, despite the fact that Stewart-Haas Racing would seemingly have just as much in the resources department, if not more so.
Yeah.
But I will say this. We were wondering about how this new RFK Racing would do with Brad Keselowski coming on as a part owner and a driver. I gotta say, so far, the results seem to be pretty good. Not great, but pretty good.
They're decent. I'm going to say decent.
It's a step up from where they were.
It's definitely a step up. But they've got some growing pains they're going through.
Oh, yeah. And that's going to take a couple more years, truth be told.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they won't necessarily visit victory lane. They very well could, because Brad Keselowski's that good of a driver, regardless of what you might think of him. But to be a consistent contender for wins, that's going to take a couple of years.
Yeah. Based off of what I've seen the cars do in testing at Phoenix, yes, they're making a return visit with a car to Phoenix. I think this is where Ryan Blaney breaks out.
Oh, there you go.
He gets on the board.
There you go. We'll find out throughout the course of the weekend here, and of course we'll talk to you again next weekend here, and who knows what we can get ourselves into, but it'll be a busy race weekend that we're going to detail for next weekend because Formula One gets their season underway, Indycar's back in action, NASCAR continues to run, and yeah, by the way, they have said that they're ahead of schedule and have finished the dirt overlay at Bristol Motor Speedway. We'll talk about that a little bit more next week as well when we got a little bit more time because that might take an entire after the show. I'm just saying. So with that being said, y'all enjoy the racing this weekend. Stay warm if you can because you know what? 24 to 48 hours from now, we're going to be back in the 70s, especially if you're in Alabama where we're based.
I'll say this about the dirt edition of the Aftershow show. I'll just go ahead and give you a teaser. Where typically my soapbox level is at DEFCON 5.
Oof.
My soapbox level for the After the Show on the Bristol Dirt may go to DEFCON 2.
Yeah.
It won't. It may not. It may touch DEFCON 1, but it's definitely going to go to DEFCON 2.
John's hand will be on the button, thankfully, not Matt's.
Exactly.
Y'all have a great week. Enjoyed it. Thank you very much for checking us out. Check us out everywhere that you possibly can. We talk about it every Saturday morning, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Central Time, God's time, where we're on 95.1 The Mountain. If you can't check out the FM signal, get their app, 95.1 The Mountain, on your app store, whichever one you happen to be on. That way you can listen to it anywhere that you're going. Or, again, you're right here on it. Tell your friends about it. Go to YouTube. CRN Live is what they search. They can subscribe. You get a notification every single time that we do something on YouTube. And tell your friends about it too, because they'll probably want to know about it. Don't forget about our website as well, crnradio.us. Again, crnradio.us, right somewhere around there. So make sure you check it out there. And of course, all of our social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, what else we got? Instagram. Just search Championship
Is
Racing.
Instagram still a thing?
Apparently.
Here's a better way to do it. Ta-da.
Yeah. There you go. Thank you, gentlemen, ladies, for checking us out. Check us out next weekend, whether it's the regular show or whether it's the After the Show. We appreciate you checking us out, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
See ya.